first question is a modular classroom right for me? To be quite honest with you, most of the time when you talk to a modular salesperson, they're going to try to talk you into using a modular classroom, even if it's not the best solution. And I'll be honest with you, I'll tell you something that every modular classroom person knows but will never say to you, and that's that we understand that a modular classroom is the solution of last resort. I'll give you an example. If you're a church school and you have a school that is bursting at the seams, but you have 3 large conference rooms that are unused, I know right away that it's going to be cheaper and less disruptive for you to convert those conference rooms into classrooms than it is to deliver and install a modular classroom. So the first question that you're going to look at and that your modular classroom consultant should be asking you is, well, what are your other options? Another example is that I've talked to church schools that had vacant buildings just across the street from the existing church or school, and they very easily could have had a couple of the classes that maybe the 8th grade, 7th and 8th graders go across the street and use this vacant building that was available. In most cases, any other solution that's reasonably available is going to be a better solution. So I usually ask people, what are your other options? And sometimes there's problems with those other options, such as security, or that students have to be bused, or that they're going to be crossing a busy street, that convince us that maybe it's worth looking at modulars. So this is a key question. What are your other options? Have you used all the existing space that you have in your current building? Even the janitor's closets, where you convert office space, unused janitor's closet into a small office space, and then use the existing office space as a small classroom. So there's usually all kinds of different solutions that you can do that are less expensive and less disruptive than delivering and installing a modular classroom. Another question to ask is this temporary or permanent? Modular classrooms can be set up on a temporary basis or a permanent basis. It doesn't really matter. But as an example, if you're doing modifications to your existing building, sometimes it is less expensive to deliver a modular classroom and use that as swing space so that your contractors can move more quickly through the modification. As an example, years ago I had a school that was having asbestos removal work done, and it became much less expensive to have 6 or 8 modular classrooms delivered, installed, connected, and then they could close down a whole floor of this school building, buy it at one time, and whip through and do the work twice as fast. The savings that they accrued by doing the work twice as fast more than paid for the cost of delivering the modular classrooms. So sometimes, even if it's temporary, you can save money on a project by using modular classrooms. Another question you need to ask is, how soon do I need it? Classic example of this is I had a school that had, with 6 weeks to graduation, they had a fire in their science lab. They lost 2 science labs. They were desperate for space. In 1 week's time, we had a double-wide modular classroom delivered that had 2 classrooms in it, and they were able to shift some space around, repurpose some of the undamaged labs, and they only missed 1 week of class. So obviously, a permanent solution would not have been viable in that particular case. And so, because a modular could be delivered and installed very quickly, it was the perfect solution. And then last but not least, budget is the question that hangs over all of this. A lot of times people will call and ask me and inquire about modular classrooms because they believe that it's significantly less than what their other solutions are. So where this comes in is we need to talk about and understand the options, the other options that are available. And there are many times where I've had people call and say, well, we can modify existing space for, say, $25,000. and have a permanent solution. And I can say, let's not even go through this process because it'll cost you $25,000 to set up a double wide, and that doesn't even include the cost of the building. So just go ahead and do your other options. Sometimes I've had people come to me and say, we're looking at, $150,000, $250,000 to do these modifications, and we can deliver and install a modular for $50,000. So it's worth exploring it in a more in-depth process at that point.